Hey.
So today I've got Jessica Huie in the car with me. Thank you for coming and doing my colour stories. Jamaica.
I know, it's a great place, the best interview I think I've had.
Exactly, we're driving down 7 miles of Negril to go and have a little swim at Margaritaville. But Jessica's agreed. We kind of met spontaneously about a month ago on a flight down here.
I think you said, are you the card lady? You're not the first, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
There's worse ways to be known.
There are, it's good. I embrace it.
But you know, like it was an inspired moment because there you were, the first person at the gate with you and your son, and me and my daughter, and then we just kind of connected, and we turned out to have loads of different people involved, in connection, yeah. But my Car Life Stories is about meeting ordinary people who do extraordinary things, and I think that you fit into that criteria quite well. So hence why we're doing this drive through Negril. You started out at 18 years old on a very different path to this. So I want to take you through your life story.
Okay.
And
this is your life.
This is your car life stories. Maybe that should have been the title. So you were 18 years old, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were working at a hair salon, and you had a turn of fortune. Explain to me about that story.
Yeah, I think I was younger than that. I think I was 17.
Are you 17?
17, and I was doing my A-levels, and I was just, I wasn't focused. I was in this place in my life where I really wanted to be independent.
Okay.
And yeah, all sorts of challenges at home, and that was kind of driving my desire to move into adulthood and, you know, create my own car. And yeah, so I had this job in a hairdresser's, and I had no desire to be a hairdresser.
Okay.
It was a way of making money, right, without qualifications.
Of course.
And as my role as a junior, you had to kind of sweep up the hair, which is what I understand is part of the course,
Yeah.
if you want to be a hairdresser. But because I had no desire to be, I just thought, what am I doing here? And we had to make small talk with the clients. And this lady came in one day, and I'm sort of washing her hair, probably getting her very wet. It wasn't very good. And she said, "Oh, darling, you're too intelligent to work here. Come and work for me."
Wow.
And I said, "What do you do?" And she said, "Oh, I run an office over in Holland Park. Come and see me on Monday, 10 o'clock or whatever it was." And so I went along to this office, and I still had no idea what she did for a living. I just knew it was office work, and I thought that has to be a graduation.
Yeah, that's got to be the
sweeping
best
up hair,
one.
right?
Yeah.
And so I went along, and she said, "Answer the phone, say Connie Filippello Publicity." And I did, and it wasn't until I got there, and she's like, "Yep, perfect, you can start next week." And it wasn't until I got there I discovered that she was a publicist for George Michael, Mariah Carey, and Versace, who was alive at that time.
Yeah.
And that was really my break into, I didn't know what public relations was at that point. You know, it wasn't a term I was familiar with, an industry. But I had always loved to write. And I think around that time I was starting to think about the possibility of being a journalist, a showbiz journalist. And that was really my break. She gave me a job, and I found myself, I guess working at the, sort of hub of the entertainment industry.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about driving. What age did you get your driving license at?
I was 18. I remember my first little white Nissan Micra, and I posed with pictures of it. Yeah, I think Monet was about 2. And she used to hate me in her car seat. So every time I try and strap her in, she'd do that thing that babies do and go stiff.
Oh, yeah.
So that was traumatic. But it was important because I was going to, after I had her, I went back to college because I dropped out, and then I went to uni, and I needed to be able to go and do my journalism degree and commute these 40 miles 3 times a week.
Wow.
So it was critical, and I passed fifth time.
I passed fifth time.
I know you know, I know. I went down a one-way on the first one. I've been driving a long time, so I'm now a very good, confident driver.
Okay.
But I think it was the pressure.
Yes, okay.
I needed it. It wasn't like nice to have. I did not want to be on that cold platform.
You see, but a lot of young mums get the bus. So for you to be like, that's just Jamaica, innit?
It's good for your self-esteem.
It really is. Do you know what? I have never felt so hot as I do in Jamaica.
Goddess vibes.
So at 18, it must have been quite scary becoming a mother for the first time. Like, you've just found yourself this job. Here comes your daughter. What did you how did you think motherhood at that time was going to affect your life?
I mean, it just completely turned my world upside down in every way. I was a young 18-year-old. I wasn't particularly worldly. Grew up on a council estate in Lavin Grove, but I'd been quite positive. You know, I wasn't allowed to go and play, but I wasn't allowed to go play out in the estate.
Is that because your parents were like religious or something?
No, just you know, they just felt that I should be studying.
And you didn't want to study?
Well, you know what, I was quite academic, but you know what your teen years are like.
Yeah, of course.
And I'd always had dance as my thing, that I was really into dance. I'd wanted to be a ballerina up until I was about 12, 13. And so yeah, Monet came along and, you know, turned my world upside down. Yes. But what she also did in doing that, along with the sleepless nights, was give me this kind of very early sense of purpose. You know,
you can coast for so long until you have responsibilities, and then when you have responsibilities, you think, actually, how can I make life better for this person now? That's not myself. It's just a different drive, isn't it?
It's a completely different drive, and it's also, you know, this incredible sense of empowerment that comes with creating a life. You know, it's like if you can do that, you suddenly realise that we are innate creators.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, birthing a person or birthing an idea or a project, and I don't think that's always conscious, but I think it shifts us energetically. Everything becomes possible.
It's true, and if you that belief, because you are believing for somebody else, becomes more intense, doesn't it? You feel it just like the love that you feel for your children. And sometimes those projects, like you birthed colourblind cards, right? So you dedicated that to your daughter, didn't you?
Well, she was the inspiration. I mean, it was very, I think, over and over again in my life, I really believe in creating the things that we want to see in the world. And I was raised to, rather than look outside for who should be doing what, what are you doing? You know, it's very much like, what are you doing? And there's no reason. It starts with us. And so when I couldn't find a card with an image on it that looked like my daughter, I couldn't find any. And then I kind of got a real bee in my bonnet and started to search all of the card stores in Oxford Street, and just realised there was a complete absence of anything representative of multicultural London, whether it was black, mixed, Asian people. And at that point I was in the kind of the middle of a really, you know, successful media career. My life was transforming, you know, sort of in terms of practicality, you know, resource. I was flying all over the world in private jets with clients and seeing incredible destinations that I never thought I'd see, with currencies I'd never heard of, and like living the life.
And that's a complete 180 compared to where you started off in the council estate in Ladbroke Grove. You know, here you are on a private jet. A lot of people would never, especially with that background, be in that situation. I mean, would you say it was just your daughter, or do you think at some point you were like, you know what, as much as I'm doing this for my daughter, I have to do something for myself as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think 100%, because, you know, there's starting, but then there's also, do you have the grit to sustain? Do you have the grit when it gets really difficult and you're up in the middle of the night juggling your day job, which I was doing? I was still working full time when I started Colourblind, and I was doing that for a year. Even when we were kind of being distributed, you know, being picked up for distribution in South Africa and the States, and shipping, you know, thousands of cards. We were doing that through the early hours of the morning, and I had to, because I was a single mum, and I had, you know, classes to pay for, young kids, and literally it's the headmaster when I was like 9. So
okay, so you kind of always had that in you. So okay, your parents are Jamaican, well, your father is Jamaican. So you've come back to Jamaica after to live now, like without your daughter's still living in the UK, but you have your son Jensen.
Yeah.
What was that motivation for you to do that?
I mean, there's a big chunk of life that came before that, right? But I think as you get older, or for me, you become more grounded and clear in your values, and success had really been redefined for me when my dad passed in 2016, because up until that point I had been following this trajectory which says, you know, that success is having an important job title, or running your own business, it's money in the bank, it's having nice cars, it's living in a big house, it's all of those things that often when we're from working class backgrounds or you know, second generation immigrants, we learn what success looks like.
Yes.
And I think having realised some of those things, I found I still wasn't happy. And there was something in me which there was something in me which I think when Colourblind, when we became the first independent publisher to put like cards with black faces in the high street,
it's such an important thing to see, especially for me before I knew you, I knew Colourblind. And I remember seeing it start and just thinking, wow, what an amazing idea. And why has this never been done before? Why do you need to start? You'd have to go like, I'm from South London, so we'd have to go to like Peckham, like this, to go
and if you were Indian, you had to go Southall.
Yeah, and you'd get in a sweet shop, you'd get those cards from the American ones, and it's so generic, and there was no like creativity behind it. It's just like the photograph that's the black card that you got from your auntie or something.
All the face was coloured in.
So it was important for me to see that happen, and when I saw you, I was like, this beautiful woman's created this. Thank you. Like, that's how I felt when I saw it, and I know that loads of people would feel the same way, because all that's happening now in terms of Black Lives Matter, and people like now realizing, oh, black people kind of exist, and they want to be seen and not seen in like a stereotypical kind of a way. It's like you were actually one of the like avant-garde people back in the day, really pushing the agenda of positivity, and so that if I wanted to give my daughter or somebody else a card, it would be genuinely beautiful, you know. So that alone is I just think it's an amazing thing that you've actually created.
Thank you. I think one of the things that was so beautiful wasn't just getting the cards in the stores, and then discovering that even America, you know, with their huge African American audience, they had the same issue. That was mind blowing to me. That actually it was deeper than just. I guess it was racism. You know, it was racism. Yeah. And
black people deserve nice things too.
We deserve to be you know, visibly represented in order to know that, because the impact of these things is so much deeper than greeting cards. So much deeper than just a card, right?
Yeah. Because it says so much. It says if you can see yourself in a store, in a Selfridges or wherever, or you know, WH Smiths or wherever you go, it means you're here. It means you're accepted and you're enough.
Right, just as you are.
Just those things. It's just not having to be scrambling to be able to find it in like one or two little locations. It's important that I can just walk in anywhere and I can pick up something as simple as a gift card, as a greeting card, or you know, a birthday card with somebody like myself on it. So
it was all the other people that started things. I think that's one of the kind of legacy things for me that I really hold in my heart is the emails that I received, or people that come up and are like, oh, I saw you doing that, and then I started this and this, you know, and it's that means a lot to me.
Yeah, and I have to say that I'm one of those people who was inspired by you as well. Like when I'm doing certain things, I'm like, well, you know what, I can do that because she's done it. You know, not only pushing with the same background as me, pushing just as hard as I can, you know. So you were saying back in, like, you've moved back to Jamaica because your definition of success changed.
Yeah, and I just think, you know, in 2016, you know, there was Colourblind, and Colourblind was beautiful, and it opened up this world of entrepreneurship and taught me that I could go from having an idea, seeing something that I felt was important, breathe life into it, and have it, you know, and implement it, and create impact, social impact in, you know, purpose with profit. And but I was still running my PR agency because that gave me the confidence to leave and start to work with clients in the way that I felt, you know, bringing my ethics and my kind of morality into it. But I was still, you know, working through the night, complete workaholic. And when Dad passed and I wrote Purpose at that point, it was really the first time that I'd become very present. Show the people your book. Just happened to have a copy in my bag, as you do. Purpose. And
what does that book mean to you?
This means everything. It's so much more. You know, this was the first thing that I ever did without an agenda. You know, without a plan. It was something that, from that space of presence, kind of came through me, and it taught me about, you know, sometimes the plan that we have for our life is a distraction from the greater plan. And
we fight that plan sometimes.
We fight it because we want to be in control. We're afraid. But that, you know, again, seeing the impact that has had on people, and there's been this theme of, oh, it was so nice to hear my story, you know, your story is my story, and there are so many parallels, and I resonate. And, you know, I think it's Dave Chappelle that said we have to reveal ourselves so people know, because who they are, something like that. I've misquoted him a little bit, but
it doesn't matter.
You get the sense of it. Yeah, exactly. Everything Dave says is just legend. So you know, the book changed my life, and it really, again, took I allowed myself to be taken on this alternate path. And the Purpose Retreat, which took place in Jamaica here in January, you know, all being well, take place again in January.
So tell us about the retreat a little bit more.
The retreat is an opportunity for people to become present and reconnect to who they really are. And what I mean by that is, you know, not who they think they should be, you know, to really connect to, okay, what's important to me, you know, what are my values, and what is there a niggle, that something that I really want to do? Is there an idea that I've just been sitting on for a while but I've been too afraid to implement? Am I happy in my relationship? Am I happy in my life? Is my life aligned with the truest expression of who I am? And from that space of presence and reconnection to their truth, to then start to action it. And it was important to me to do it here because, you know, Jamaica has so much. We have more medicinal plants here than anywhere else in the world. I think it's 85% of medicinal plants are here. And yet, you know, when it comes to the sort of traditional retreat venues or the wellness industry, it's very much the Balis and the Thailands. And Jamaica, you know,
this is a fun place. They don't look at it as, the society does not look at Jamaica as something of depth.
There's so much more depth, and the place is innately spiritual. Everybody who comes here experiences that, whether or not you have a genetic connection to it or not. And I wanted to be a part of, you know, be a vehicle in some way for shifting perceptions and driving community tourism in the parish where my dad and my family come from.
So you were able to visualize who you would kind of,
but not in a conscious, I'm going to visualize my future. It was just there, and I had this dream of interviewing superstars. And I think it was about five years after that incident in the hairdressers, where Connie gave me that opportunity, that I found myself in a penthouse in Manhattan interviewing Mariah Carey at 3 a.m. with candlelight. You know, it's so once you have those reference points and you realize what's possible, you know, the game of life becomes a different one.
What was your favorite car? What was your favorite car that you bought?
I loved driving my Porsche Cayenne. I loved being up high.
Yeah.
It was in my 20s. Because I was in my 20s, so.
And that's quite young to have a Porsche as well.
Yeah. You know what? It was a gift. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't
Really?
Yeah, it was a gift.
We like friends like that.
I'm a good friend to have.
Yeah, man.
But I think. I mean, but then saying that, yeah, like I enjoyed driving that car.
Yeah.
It was a fun time in my life. It was kind of, I guess, in the same way that, you know, perfumes evoke a scent will evoke a time in your life. Or music does that, doesn't it? Cars can too.
Yes. And this is what my car life story is. That's why I asked you these questions, because cars are a punctuation mark. You know who you were at that stage in your life. You know, fun Jess out on the town in your Porsche Cayenne.
I mean, I was never really out on the town, like, because I was always on my hustle. I was so ambitious. I was always thinking about the next goal, the next acquisition, the next thing. But it was like, I was living a fun life.
Okay.
With my career was fun. I was living, the dream at that point.
So you had your Porsche, and now here you are in Jamaica. What are you driving?
I don't even know what it is. It's the oldest car I've ever had.
Yeah.
I think it's a Suzuki.
It is. I think it is a Suzuki. Yeah.
All I know is that it's sturdy and it can handle the potholes.
And this is what you need out here.
This is what you need. And it was also a very conscious, you know, I think like mine has been a journey of finding a balance. I'm quite extreme. And I like nice things. I like comfort. I like luxury.
Yeah.
But I also am really comfortable in simplicity. If I can sleep comfortably, I'm comfortable. And so for me, coming here is the ultimate luxury. Waking up and being beside the ocean. The car is just a way to get from A to B. And so I think because we decided to come and kind of trial it for a year, I wanted to come and also there was the fear of driving out here. I had driven, but only within the parish.
Okay.
So first of all, I had to venture out, and I just wanted to do it in an old car and sort of just test it out, and then
that can take a lick.
Yeah, exactly.
So, have you had any scary driving moments in Jamaica?
Yeah, we broke down the other day. That was a bit scary because I felt it slowing down.
Okay.
I think it's 2001, so it's an old car. I felt it slowing down, but I was able to kind of veer off and park up safely, so that was a little nerve-wracking.
Yes. Jamaica is the place, if you are not assertive as a driver, you will suffer.
Yeah, you have to be proactive.
You do. So we're parked back up.
Yes,
back to
nice drive.
Yeah,
Thank you, that was smooth.
Thank you. I didn't scare you.
Not at all.
No.
I felt very safe.
Good. I have done I've done a bit of driving in Jamaica now, so I'm well in tune with the locals, but sometimes they're unpredictable.
Yeah. Overtaking.
Yeah, any opportunity. So what would you say you'd like your legacy to be? It's a tough question, I know. It's a biggie.
I just said that I'd like people to say she was true to herself. Because I feel like that's what the world needs right now.
Yeah.
And if I think when you are, people realise that it's safe just to be who you are, which is a work in progress, you know, then you kind of liberate others to do likewise.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's less need for perfectionism, you know. And the more that we can, especially in this like social media era where everything seems to be like airbrushed and whatever, if you can meet people who are just their genuine selves, it allows you to be yourself and it takes the pressure off a bit. So I think that's amazing. Thank you very much for
having me.
Doing my colour stories. It was
watching.
fun. My first one in Jamaica.
Love that. First of many international car drives.
Yes. I would like that to happen for myself. So yeah, thank you for being such a great guest.
You're so welcome. All right.
Cool. One love. Let's do the COVID.